Welcome in. Welcome into Clearing the Air with Kevin Calera. I am your host, Kevo. Well, my friends call me Kevo, but since we're all friends here, you guys can call me Kevo as well. This is the best in sports talk content. So you make sure you treat it as such. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button. I think there's a bell for my YouTube listeners. Hit the bell as well. So you can be notified whenever we record these videos. And then, of course, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, all the platforms, and so on and so forth. In case you miss any segments, all of the full videos, all of the segments, all the clips, all that stuff's all over the place. Twitter, Instagram, you know how it goes. It is that time of week where I have a guest come join me. And so for the very first guest episode, I'm going to bring on someone who is a super close friend of mine. We went to college together. We go way back. We're so close, in fact. We have the same name. He just spells it a little bit weird. So, number one man, Mike of the Preach Kev Preach podcast. I want to make sure I welcome Mr. Pastor Kev Kev. Let me get you a little applause here. All right, not too much on Kev.
I appreciate it. Even though my name is spelled the correct way, that's neither here or there. I'm glad to be joining your show today. What's up, man?
Man, what's up, man? It's a special occasion. It's you and me back in the stew. I'm about to. It's just two guys, and so I figured for a special occasion, I get me a little drink on, a little drinky drink, because it's Thirsty Thursday. We are recording this. By the way, we're recording this, y'all, 7:46 p.m. at the beginning of this recording Thursday night. So whatever we say in regards to live updates to NCAA tournament games, because you're not going to hear this till Friday. Predictions we make if we say anything about the Carolina game later today, that on Friday we may be wrong when it comes out. But that's just so y'all know what time it is. But yeah, Kev, I got me some good Woodford Reserve here, just a nice solid whiskey with some Coke as I get my sip on. What wine you plugging?
Chateau Sauveur. I thought I was French a little bit, man.
Yeah, man. We used to do the Santa Julia Argentinian wine. Shout out to Mano Ginobili, Nocione Prigioni, and Lionel Messi. But
good time.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Like, there's a lot to discuss. We were kind of determining what we wanted to talk about, and honestly, I don't even really know where I want to start. We can start Draymond. We can start Deion Sanders. We can start the NCAA tournaments, March Madness. We can start NFL free agency. There's no way we can get to all of this stuff. So, of course, we'll just have to, just go as we go. But if there's anywhere particular that's like near and dear to your heart, to your soul, that you want to start with, I'm cool with that. And if not, then, I guess we could just start with the biggest story of this week that just took place yesterday. But again, that's up to you, man. Wherever you want to go with this to start, you tell me where we can start, and I'll start because I got some takes.
Yeah, I'm fine. Let's go Draymond. Let's go.
All right, well, we'll go Draymond then. So, this podcast is not like my last podcast, So if you want to get explicit because you need to let some feelings out, you could do that. Because I'm gonna need to do that because, quite frankly, Kev, we've all had friends where, like, they're part of the group. So you got a group of five, and like you got the one friend who he's always the quiet, the shy one. The ones that's the outgoing, he's probably the one that's always making the plans. And then you got the one who could just set it off, like, at any given point. And like you got to take him with you because he's down to set it off. And if something goes sideways, he that's what he needs to be there for. But the problem is sometimes he's the reason that things get set off, even if it's not necessarily necessary. So I'm starting to feel like, I know I'm getting sick of it. I'm starting to feel like Steph is getting a little sick of Draymond shit. I really, after watching the clips seeing seeing Steph's like reaction in real time. He looked like he was about to cry on the court. He might have even been crying. Just like I haven't seen him like that since he won in Boston. So now you got like clearly Draymond like has not learned his lesson. We'll go ahead and play the clip so we can hear Steph talk, but you know, this is a lot. This is a lot. Let me go ahead and pull this clip up so we can get this rolling.
All I say is we need him. He knows that. We all know that. So whatever it takes to keep him on the floor and be available, that's what's got to happen. Especially at this point in the year. So it's a tough way to start the game.
Well, I guess we can go into Steve Kerr. I guess we just had to.
Yeah, too bad. It was unfortunate. He deserved it, and you know he'll bounce back. I'm just proud of the guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, we get the gist. Steph's clearly like, look, man, like that can't happen. We know it can't happen. Steve Kerr's, you know, I'm kind of glad to see Kerr go ahead and hold him accountable a little bit. Say, yeah, you know, he deserved it. But quite frankly, man, like this is what happens when you enable unnecessary, like bad behavior. Like, and it's to the point where I hate to have to refer to him and speak to him as if he's a child, or not speak to him, but speak about him as if he's a child. But when you let stuff go on past a certain point, Draymond has gotten to the point where he looks at the Warriors and he's like, I dare one of y'all to do something because you need me too much, right? I'm gonna punch Jordan Poole in the face, and I dare you to trade me. I dare you to, you know, punish me for the Rudy Gobert choke or the Nurkic smack or whatever. Like, and with the referees, he's like, I dare you to give me that second tech because you don't want to do it. And they used to be scared of that because, you know, they don't want to kick him out, and the NBA is an entertainment product and da-da-da-da. But now the referees are sick of his shit. Steph and Kerr are clearly sick of his shit. I'm sick of his shit. What say you?
Well, I got a saying that, you know, sometimes you got to let Draymond be Draymond, right? And it works when it works, right? So when you win the championships, when you're the number one seed in the league, it works. But when you fighting for your lives, where the Houston Rockets team is going crazy in his March month, where I think like 10-1 in the last 11 games or so, where every game you're playing is a playoff game. And that's why Curry is disappointed. That's why Steve Kerr is disappointed, because every game you need. Or let imagine when the best team's at home and you get suspended, ejected in the first 5 minutes of the game. I think he has to be more self-aware, and that's his problem. I think you can have the antics, you can have all those different things, but what he brings to the table is invaluable to a lot of, you know, around the world, NBA, and that's why he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But at the same point, it's like this Warriors team needs you to play, especially with Kuminga's already out. Now we out you and Draymond. You're luckily you won the game, but like that's a big loss, or it's a way bigger story. If now you lost, Rockets won, Rockets right on your tail. They get in front of you, and not only do you not miss the playoffs, you miss the playing game. So Draymond got to be careful, because you already been spending this year. They just paid you. This team for a guy like Curry, I think that's why he's like so disappointed, because like he know he don't have much. Like, and he got to do everything he can to try to get out of here, but he got to be a Warrior for the rest of his life, because that's what he's gonna be. And the way they're going, I don't see where you get a star to come in. You can't trade Draymond nowhere else. Is he good somewhere else? Klay Thompson's older, and it's just you just running it back, just to do the same thing over and over again.
And that's the other thing too. So I listened to Draymond because he went live either last night or today. But at some point I watched, because I you know, obviously want to hear what he's about to say. And basically, like, he kind of just like explained what happened. I was talking to the ref. He gave me a text. Then I said something that I'm not going to repeat. So he said, but I tried to say it. I think I said it too soon, to where my angle where I was still looking at the ref, I should have timed it maybe like a second and a half later, where I'd have been turned around. and maybe he wouldn't have heard me or da 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 da. And like he was like, but I can't do that. But this is the thing. You told me that back in 2017, how you can't let your emotions get the best of you, and you cost your team finals when you got suspended and Cleveland came back from 3-1. And you cost yourself a finals MVP. This is out of your mouth. You told me that when you hit Nurkic, you were like, look, I was trying to sell the call, but I gotta, I gotta control myself. You said that when you choked out Gobert. You said that you served a 21 game suspension. The finals in 2016, some people don't believe this. The finals in 2016 would have been different had you not got suspended for game 5. This season would be different if you didn't have to miss 21 games. And how many times, and the thing about it is, if you watch this whole thing from his first tech to his second tech, which by the way, were not 2 separate incidences, and this started with a foul called on somebody else. Like, you're not in the play. They called incidental contact down there. Whether it's a bad call or not is to be that's something else to be discussed, but it ain't worth getting thrown out 3 minutes or 4 minutes into the game. Like, that just makes no sense to me. And so everything could be different. And again, to your point, Houston's won 10 in a row because they won last night. They won 10 games in a row. They're literally nipping at your heels. They got 1 game back, and they have a pretty solidly, I won't say easy, but like, they've got a manageable schedule. And the Warriors, they blow leads. I think them and Boston like have some like 2 of the like highest blown leads rates in the league, which is crazy to think about. But they blow leads. So where does that come from? Like how do you not blow leads? Leadership. Okay, well, Draymond missed the 4th of the season, right? You got a $100 million extension. So you're here. Steph is 36 years old. Clay, at best, is a solid player to pretty good, right? He's not going to be a great player anymore. He's a shell of himself. His body's just not going to let him do what he used to be able to do. He can have great nights. He's not a great player. And if you're Steph, you're like, well, you kind of have to make the choice where it's like, okay, do I really want to win a championship again, or do I want to just compete? Because right now you're not even competing. Like you're fighting for 10 to lose to the Lakers in the play-in. It's not like you're fighting for 7 where you get a home game in the play-in and then another home game if you lose. You're fighting for 10. 10. If you can't make and so clearly, while Steph is still a top 10 player, he's clearly not good enough to carry this team to the playoffs and maybe not the play-in. Him, LeBron, and KD, who have basically been the 3 carrying this whole league for 15 years or so, are closer to 10 than they are to 1 as far as the top 10 players in the league. And he's got no help. And where the Warriors messed up, I'm not even going to put this to the Jordan Poole section of things, but just where they messed up in general was just like they got their Tiger Woods moment with the Masters where they weren't supposed to win. They were the 3 seed, and they got 1 more. And then they said, oh, well, we won championships, so we can turn it on when we need to. And when it really matters, all we got to do is just get in. And it's like, no, man, Denver's going to sweep you. Oklahoma City is going to sweep you. Minnesota, I know Cat's hurt, but they probably beat you in 5, even though they're young. Sacramento, you got lucky with your Sacramento matchup last year, but Sacramento this year would beat you in 6. Like this is just not the wave, and they're not built for it. And I don't know, man. It's just like I said, enabling behavior puts you in this position.
Yeah, the Warriors messes up. They messed up a long time ago, and like you said, they did get a ring, so it made it like easier to cover. And I think that's a problem. It's a great thing for the Warriors, right? But that's where the problem lies. That's why Bob Myers said, "Let me go and step down." There is no hope for this team, right? I believe every team you mentioned talking about will beat the Warriors in the series. I think the Rockets will beat the Warriors in the series. Now, granted, Sengun's out, so maybe I might retract that a little bit, but healthy Rockets, I think Rockets will take that for sure. I don't know. Like I feel like their problems is obviously bigger than last night's moment, and they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think they can be the play in. I don't think they make the play. They may commit to the play in. I mean, Rockets are hot right now. Not sure they will, but they wouldn't make the playoffs even if they make the play-in. I'll say that. Like, they're not going to beat Luka. They're not going to beat LeBron and AD in one game. They're not going to beat the Suns. Maybe they can beat the Suns, but the rest of them, that they can't beat the Kings. I'm not scared. I trust Zion and Brandon Ingram before I trust the rest of the Warriors team outside of Curry. So the problem is Curry on that track of the Kobe Bryant days when his career was winding down, where there's no hope, you're not winning games, you're fun to watch, but that's about it. We don't believe you're going to win for real. So, did the Warriors pay Steve Kerr?
So I want to say he got 2 years.
Okay,
so like a 2-year. So basically, it sounds like they're trying to time this because I want to say Steph's got one more extension coming. Draymond is now, after this year, will have 3 years left. I think they're trying to time this to where they all leave at the same time. Kerr, Steph, Dre. I don't know what the hell you do with Klay Thompson.
There's no way. Okay, remove everything you know about the Warriors winning championships in the past. Why would you bring Klay Thompson back at that market value? Should I say?
Okay, right. So this is where this was to my point. So because Klay is, like, the dude Kevin Huerter used to play for the Hawks. He plays for the Kings now. So I always thought that the Atlanta Hawks were trying everything they could to build a Golden State Warriors. They had Trae Young. They had, I don't know if his first name is Kevin, but Porter, and then they had John Collins, and they had Clint Capella. Like, they were trying to build your Andrew Bogut, Draymond Green, Steph, Klay, and a wing. Harrison Barnes, I guess, but then, because you can't replicate KD. But that's what they were trying to do. Whatever he gets paid in Sacramento right now is where Klay has to be. Because Klay's better than him still. But you cannot. No. Come on, kid, relax. But you can't. There's like this $30 million, $25 million. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And if they do, then what they've said is, and this is fine. If this is their thing, what they've said is loyalty and just letting our guys play it out however they want to play it out is what's important to us. And again, if that's what it is, that's fine. But then don't tell me we want to win. And if you're Steph, or if you're Steph, you can't tell me you expect to win with this. I understand, like, we've won championships together. We've overcome what felt like was the impossible together. But you have to, you can't be this naive to the fact that, okay, we're not out-talenting anybody. We've got solid pieces, but our depth ain't any different than, oh my gosh, my depth ain't any different than, like, it's not like those Warriors teams in 2015 where Leandro Barbosa and David West come in 2017. Like well, they was deep. They had Sean Livingston. Your bench isn't that. So, and this is Steph's only averaging like 24 points a game. It's not like he's going crazy. So right. This is not this just you can't be this naive. And I know, like I said, I know you trust the guys you went to war with, and I guess winning a championship really means something. But this is the difference between, this is why LeBron James, like, he I'm not playing that. You getting old? All right, well, Andy Wade, let's go get you to Chicago real quick. All right, Derrick Rose, let's go get you. Like, we're not.
That's the scary part. And that's the scary part, because do Curry care? All right, we know Curry is a competitor, right? He cares about winning, but should he care, or should he just ride out to the sunset type Dirk Nowitzki type, where you just Kobe Bryant, where you just playing, getting your stats, building your legacy, being that guy to stay with one team, get out of here. Tim Duncan, right? All those guys stayed in a place where management didn't try to go get somebody. Really, obviously the Lakers built through the draft. The Mavericks had got Luka, and then obviously Tim Duncan, they had Kawhi, so that. But until the Warriors get somebody in the building like that, I don't believe that to be Kuminga. I don't believe that to be what's the rookie they got, the crazy last name. I don't believe those two. I think those two are good players. I don't believe them to be the Lukas, the Kawhis of the world, or the multiple draft picks the Lakers had to go ship out for AD. So the bigger question is, with Draymond acting the way he is he really worth it when you're losing? Is he worth it if you're not making the playoffs?
Yeah, and what's even crazier is, so what you're talking about, the Warriors. So like to your point, I like Kuminga as well. I like Moses Moody. I like Pods, but like you said, they're not the next one, and they had a chance to get the next one, and they made the wrong choice.
Right.
Right? They chose Wiseman, and I think that. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, like everybody kind of was. I mean, I thought they should take LaMelo at the time. I'm not even trying to say that in hindsight, but I wanted them to take LaMelo one because I thought it was gonna be fun to watch, and because he's 6'7", so we can make this work. So if you're willing to play Chris Paul and Steph together, you could have definitely played LaMelo and Steph.
I think the proof was in that pudding where they doing it like, oh damn, we could have probably had LaMelo. He probably wouldn't have been as hurt because it wouldn't have been on him to carry a whole franchise.
And Steph might not have missed the whole year with the wrist. Like you ended up going D'Lo. Like you clearly showed that, we can get another scoring guard to come play. Like so you made that right there, because I feel like if LaMelo's on this team, one, while Jordan Poole never whatever, but they never even pay him, and that's not even ever a thing. But like you can afford to let Clay go if LaMelo is on your team right now. And it, you know, but again, it comes down to loyalty. As the standings sit right now, Denver's at 1, half a game up on Minnesota, and half a game up on OKC. The Clippers might end up being a 6 seed. The Dallas is 1-5 in a row.
Yeah, Clippers are falling down.
Clippers are falling big time, and nobody wants to talk about Russ and how Russ goes away and they go from winning 19 out of 23 to being just average. But anyway, you know, it's popular to pick on Russ, but when his value is clearly being shown, no one wants to say nothing. But anyway, I digress. So Pelicans are a game behind the Clippers, and Dallas is 1 game behind the Pelicans. And then in the play-in right now, you got, if all holds as it is right now, you got Phoenix playing Sacramento at home, and you got LA, the Lakers, playing the Warriors at home, because the Lakers have also won 5 straight. So now, and you got Houston 1 game behind Golden State. Doesn't look good. And Golden State's schedule moving forward, they got the Hornets and the Spurs. So that's supposed to be 2 wins. Then they got Dallas. Then they got Houston. Then they got Dallas. Then they got Utah. Then they got the Lakers, Blazers, Pelicans, Jazz. So it's kind of up and down, but that game against Houston obviously is important. And of course, Draymond running his mouth. Oh, I'm not worried about Houston.
They coming.
They're coming. They've won 10 in a row. I mean,
they got veterans. They're not scared. Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks are not scared of the Warriors.
Nope.
Jalen Green got a baby on the way. He's not scared of nobody right now.
And honestly, it's funny because Drea announced that she's pregnant. Here go Jalen Green, and then they went 10 in a row.
all of a sudden, he's a superstar. Right? It's crazy how that works.
It's Drea. So yeah, man, it'll be interesting, and I really think, like I said, I'm tired of Draymond's shit. I'm just so sick of like this constant, I'm gonna go take anger management, and I keep hearing the same thing. I just can't do that. But you continue to do that, and you can't fool me. Look, you fooled me once, shame on you. You fooled me twice, I'll be damned. So that's it. Everybody else in the NBA, boss, you know, I'm still picking Nuggets, and that's just me. Nobody's gonna convince me otherwise. If Jamal Murray's healthy, they're 11-8 without him. They're 40-12 or something like that with him. 40-10 with him or something like that. So that tells you all you need to know. But yeah, so that's I do want to get into Deion Sanders with you, but first we just gonna breathe a little bit. Because you know, unlike Draymond, we're gonna actually take a breather and calm it down. And when we come back, I kind of want to get your take, not just necessarily on what Deion Sanders said, but also like the bigger conversation that it kind of brought up, because I had some thoughts about that too. And I just want to see what you got. So we'll be right back. Clearing the air with Kevin Clare, featuring the pastor. All right, and we are back. So like I be telling y'all, man, I don't have to do no ad reads. I ain't got to input no ads here, so y'all are welcome. Any of y'all who are here in the ground version where you don't have to hear no ads, Better be excited. Like I said, y'all, make sure y'all subscribe, all that good stuff to the YouTube Clear the Air podcast, Clear the Air with Kevin Claire. I'm here with the one, the only Pastor Kev. So we just, during the break, we ended up talking about college basketball. And so while our next segment is not about college basketball, it is about college sports and just kind of how college sports are changing, the way players are moving, the way coaches are moving, all that stuff. But we started talking about the most pressing thing of the week that popped up yesterday. Now we're going to go back to the beginning of the week and talk about Deion Sanders real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for you, Kev. I'm sure you've heard it, but for those who have not, I'll go ahead and play this for y'all, and then we will go from there. Might take a second to pop up because that's just the way it goes.
Where do you predict Shador and Travis going in the draft?
Top 4.
Ooh, that's pretty beautiful.
Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be 1. The latter one would not go behind 4. Now, all this is subjective because I know where I want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't going to happen.
Okay, you on point.
It's going to be it's going to be an Eli.
So Deion Sanders. Okay, so to add a little bit of context.
Where do you
Oh, God. We're going to play it again? Okay. To add a little context, Travis Hunter, from what I read, like he's actually living with Deion and Shador. So he's kind of like a second son to him and whatnot. 1 through 4, when I first heard it, it kind of sounded, there's a lot to unpack here. When I first heard it, it kind of sounded like a stretch. Then I started to think about, well, there ain't no really quarterbacks coming out next year. They all decided to come out this year. And which is why it was smart for him to stay. He's in the are they still in the Pac-12 or did they realign somewhere? I don't really know where they're at. So he's probably gonna be in a pretty easy, I mean,
I think they moved to the Big 12.
the Big 12. So he's still got a chance to shine and he's got a chance to kind of be the number 1 quarterback coming in. And the crazy thing about Travis Hunter is he plays 2 ways. Now, I don't know if Travis Hunter is a good enough corner to be a top 5 pick or a good enough receiver to be a top 5 pick, but he's not going to play both in the NFL. So because of that, and honestly, I don't even want to say that because I guess it's happened before. And I guess people see who he is, see the position she plays, and then sees that his coach is Deion Sanders and can think, oh, well, maybe. But so, yeah. So the part that, of course, a lot of people were discussing is, it's going to be an Eli. Eli decided, hey, I'm not playing for the Chargers. Not doing it. Trade me. Or they said, we're about to draft you. You don't want it? All right, well, we'll trade for whoever. Long story short, Eli and Phillip Rivers get traded for each other. So here's my thing with this. Because this isn't even coming out. And it's funny because it brings up the player empowerment versus player entitlement piece of things, but this didn't even come out of either player's mouth. This came out of a coach. And Deion Sanders has a very, very bad habit of making every situation that he's kind of around, making himself the center of the situation. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I don't have enough knowledge about Deion and about what he's got going on and what he's making happen to cast any sort of judgment or any sort of just I don't know, a real opinion on it. Right. So yeah, but I don't think I like this, Kev. I don't think I like it. I don't think that I have a huge problem with players staying with players having the power. I mean, think about the structure of the NFL now. All right, you're a 21-year-old kid. We're going to draft you. You don't know where you're going to go. You have no control over that. Then you got to come to the rookie mini camps and do that stuff. And we don't know where your family is. Nor do we care. And basically for the next 7 years, you're ours. And you're going to go where we tell you to go. You're going to get paid as much as you're already scheduled to get paid, blah, blah, blah. And there's no real say in that. You just kind of have to make the best of that situation in hopes to maximize your profit earnings. And just the way the rules and CBA and all that stuff is set up, it's set up for people to stay. not be jumping from team to team, especially in basketball. So I do think that there is a benefit to players having some control in their future, because at the end of the day, it is their future. These organizations survive. Players, it's a lot different. But I also think that you start to open a, a can of worms that it might not be beneficial to us culturally, socially, economically, sports wise to open. What say you?
So I guess the question is really, how many teams are there currently where you would pull a Eli, right? Because all right, so we know Caleb Williams going to the Bears, right? But the Bears have done everything to show Caleb Williams, we believe in you, getting Keenan Allen, bringing over the, Swift, going for Montez Swift, all this stuff that we know the Bears did. They did a great job, right? From a GM standpoint, on paper. Still got to play the game. How many other teams, especially a QB team like, or QB, a team that need QBs, are Eli like or Chargerish like ways right now? Like, what do you think? Is anybody who has a bad owner?
It's funny because it's so funny you say that, because that was one of the points I made on the pod earlier this week, was like, I don't think that there's really any teams that are like boycottable. Like in the reality of it is, you can't say, well, I don't want to play in cold weather because you play in Colorado. So it's not like that's like who are we talking about? Like, okay, I don't know what the Charger situation was then. This ain't like, the Washington Redskins owner, they're not even the Redskins anymore. Now they're the Commanders, but the owner of the Redskins, he's gone. Like, so he sold the team. I mean, who are we talking about here? Like, who would you not want to play for? Like the Raiders,
Panthers?
maybe it's a I don't want you in Vegas at that age, right? Panthers probably wouldn't draft you, but if they did, that might be the team that is like, okay,
Right, and they don't need to draft because they got Bryce
Pepper
Young.
don't know
Right?
what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm looking here, like the Jets are a pretty poorly ran franchise from the
Okay,
front office,
Jets.
but we've seen worse.
Jet. I'll put Jets up there. I'll put Jets. If I was a quarterback, I would not want to play for the Jets.
Yeah, man, same. It used to be the Browns, but at this point, if I was a quarterback, I think I would love to go to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
They stacked over there. Other than that, man, dude, like I don't Tennessee.
I mean,
Um,
how many? So Jets may be the only bad owner, bad coach. I don't think Saleh's a good coach in my opinion. Bad owner, bad coach. How many of those pairings are there? Because the Panthers one, it's a bad owner, but you can't really say coach because he's a rookie head coach. So how many bad coach, bad owner are there?
the only one you got is Jets. But
Okay.
even with that, if they're picking high enough to draft you, they probably have a new coach as well.
Right. So that's what I was getting at. Like, is that a what's the guy from Detroit Lions?
The coach
Johnson.
or Ben Johnson?
Ben Johnson. Is that a Ben Johnson destination? That I want to go there, for example.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So I mean, I don't really see anywhere. And so it's like, okay, so then if you're Deion Sanders and this is your son, are you saying, all right, well, we're in Colorado, so we want you to be somewhere close to, like, I don't want you in Miami when I'm all the way over here and I can't.
That'd be a good move though.
Well, I want to get into a couple ideas that I had that we've kind of discussed briefly, but we can put it on mic. But so maybe that's what his thing is about. It might not be about the team and more just about his preference. But again, this is Deion making this situation about Deion. And I don't know, man. Like, do you say you don't want to play for the Giants? I guess I probably wouldn't want to play for the Giants if I don't want to play for the Jets. I feel like, to me, I see them about the same, but I do like Brian Daboll. So I don't think that it's like that big of a deal. I don't know. It's weird, but honestly, like, I want to get into, because the Deion part is just, again, that's just Deion. It didn't come out of either player's mouth. So I don't even, and they'll say the right things. Oh, I'll play for anybody who's,
Right,
I'll just be thankful for the opportunity. They will. But LeBron James has, we consider LeBron James kind of the guy who orchestrated this player empowerment era with his the decision to go to Miami in 2012. and how from then it was like, players changing this, that, and the third, and it's kind of bled over into other sports. I mean, free agency has always been a thing. Demanding trades has always been a thing, but we know what we mean when we say this player empowerment era. And now you got NIL. So of course people want to say that it's funny because people assume if you're making money, you're entitled. So when they say things like, "Oh, these coaches are trying not to coach anymore because they don't want to deal with these entitled kids," it was like, well, who said these kids were entitled? Like, because they're making money, and that's the type of stuff you hear from people who don't make money or ain't making no money. That's just how that goes. Hate speech. Um, but yeah, I don't like the idea of this becoming a thing. Again, I'm not someone who's like, oh, who are you to? We've been doing it this way for so long. Who are you to come in here and change stuff up? Everybody loves a good person to ruffle some feathers. We all loved Baker Mayfield for that part of things. But I don't know. I don't think that is the best for sports, and I think that it takes it takes too much away from just playing the game in general. I like my quarterbacks or my players in general focused on playing and getting better and winning games. Not really concerned about someone trying to make sure that they can be a culture mover. Like let other people do that. Let other people succeed and be successful at doing that stuff. I need you to focus on succeed at the thing I pay you millions of dollars to do.
So where do you think why would Deion say this? Why would he bring this up as far as to pull an Eli? Because for what, right? So here are teams that potentially maybe in the QB race next year, right? So you have Titans, okay, possibly the Giants. You mentioned New York earlier. Possibly the Jets with Aaron Rodgers' age. They don't have a backup plan yet. What's the succession plan post Aaron Rodgers? Vegas or Broncos, depending on if they take a quarterback this year. And that's probably it because everybody else is probably drafting their quarterback this year. Maybe the Patriots in that line, depending on if they draft one at 3 or trade back. So it's not that many teams, right?
Maybe Minnesota if the draft just doesn't fall for them to get a quarterback.
A reach, right, exactly. So so that 11, 12, 13 run of Minnesota Broncos Raiders in the draft, we'll see what they do. But everybody else is pretty much Seattle will be one as well.
Sure. Yep.
So out of those options, I mean, you want to go Seattle, weapons, defensive head coach though, but Minnesota has the weapons. New England do not right now. Jets has weapons. Giants do not have anything right now. So it's kind of like where we talking about. Titans has some weapons. They paid Calvin Ridley. They brought Tony Pollard in. So any quarterback, no matter what it is, you want to go to a team that one can protect you, which Sanders know about bad O-line play, right? And then you want to go with some weapons, which at Colorado he has elite weapons. So as long as you get one of the two, you hope the other team is to build on the other, and you be fine. So I don't know why Deion would say this, and I don't. The Travis Hunter thing is minute anyway because he's a corner receiver. Who cares?
Right.
Your job is to stop the other guy, or your job is to get open and catch the ball, whoever that is. So I'm not worried about Travis Hunter. He just saying that because he's trying to loop them together. But
couple of other ones that might be sneaky. I think the Rams could be a sneaky team at trying to get a quarterback future
Jimmy
wise
G,
as
man.
well.
Carson Wentz.
All right. In the Saints, look, man, Derek Carr after this year will be after 2 of his 4-year deal. They probably need one.
I would kind of not want to go to the Saints.
Maybe not, probably not.
Not necessarily because of owner, but they'll be getting a new coach too if that's the case. I don't think he survives another. Dennis Allen survives another QB change, in my opinion. But yeah,
I don't know why he would really where he doesn't want to go or why, but I do think that this starts to just open up a worm because Deion Sanders. Okay, so let's say Deion Sanders decides that he's saying, "Hey, Shador's not playing for you, New York or New York." So don't draft him.
Mm.
And then next year, QB1 says, oh, all right, well, then I'm not playing for such and such. And we get to the point where it's like, yo, dog, like, because for me, if I'm a team and I'm like, I need a quarterback and you're that good, I'm going to draft you. And I'm going to check your oil. And I'm going to call your bluff. Now, you tell me if you want to sit here and sit on the NFL for 4 years and not make a dime. Go ahead. Like, let's see, because it's easy for me to go find a backup and go find an Andy Dalton type who we just gonna be sorry. But the whole world knows that it's you. That's why you're not playing, not me. Like, let's go. Let's see who really has it here. Because at the end of the day, after we go 4 years and you haven't played a snap because you thought that you were gonna just like strong arm me to trading you or to whatever. Which, by the way, hey, newsflash: if we're trash again because you didn't want to play, I'll go get the next quarterback. And then, you know, and so now we're to the point where it's like, does somebody after 5 years want to be like, dang, he was a good prospect 5 years ago, but clearly, you know, hey, you want to miss game checks? Fine. I guarantee you that a rookie who says, I'm not playing for y'all, if I say, well, guess what? I'm going to draft you anyway, and then you can sit down. I guarantee you they're going to, whether it's because of competitive edge, whether it's because of financial, whatever it is, you can't sue me. And if you don't want to sign a contract, well, I have the draft right. Like you, there's nothing you can do as a player.
Yeah. And then so I guess maybe Sanders just mean like at the time when he got drafted, he did not want to go to Detroit for obvious reasons. Laughing stock of the league. I don't think we really have a laughing stock of the league because a team like Houston just came out of the mud, right? Won 2 games the prior year, going up. The Panthers. Yes, they had did what they've done, but they have done a good job in the offseason so far to try to get out of there, right? And that's only recently the last few years. So I don't think there's no current team right now who's just bottom of the barrel, hasn't made a decision yet. I guess outside of maybe the Jets, but they still won 6 or some games, right? So I guess the only way you can look at it is maybe he doesn't want Sanders to go to a team that's not profitable, meaning Tennessee. But every other team he named, LA Rams, Minnesota, the New York teams, Vegas, all the other teams either has everything you need to succeed and or the star power or the marketability to make you better than what you are or put more dollars in your pocket. So if that's what he's talking about, maybe because there's no way there's no way in Tennessee probably don't fit any of the bill, right? But but it's an offensive minded coach where you want to be, where you got a really D Hop and Tony Pollard. But it seems like it could be a successful route for a good young quarterback. So I'm not sure what Deion. Maybe Deion just saying stuff just to spur some things up because I'm not sure like where he's getting a team that is I'm not going. And the Chargers at the time, they had Drew Brees prior. And Drew Brees wasn't sorry, and they was winning games. They just as a cheap owner. That was a cheap owner. Yeah. I get it, you know.
And then maybe they had something with like, oh, we did like, you know, because I wasn't old enough to really know what was going on there, and it could have been something with the way they like treated his health with his shoulder, and like maybe there was just something that was other than just
right.
We're just gonna pull Eli because we have the power to do that. Like I think it was a little bit more. And then on top of that, you got to remember the year Eli got drafted was the draft after the season Peyton won MVP. So like, right, like we over here like, oh, Peyton just won MVP. Here comes his brother, Archer's son. Oh yeah. This is not Shedeur Sanders. But I got something that I want to run by you, Kev. I didn't know we were gonna get to this, but we were talking about the quarterbacks and da. And I've got something that might be a little space brain, so you got to bear with me, okay? But I've been thinking about this as a Cowboys fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about this because this is looking like this something that seems like it could be a reality or close to a reality. We have never seen a team win with an average quarterback being paid like a great one. We've never seen a team win with a good quarterback being paid like a great one. We've seen teams win with bad quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. We've seen teams win with great quarterbacks. We've never seen a team win with an average quarterback or to average to good, pretty good win. Joe Flacco was on the last year of a rookie deal. And then he got paid, bet on himself, so
And
on
never
and so
won
forth.
again.
And never won again. Right? Josh Allen hasn't won, but he's great. So if he wins, it's a great quarterback being paid like a great quarterback.
Agreed.
You got two teams with good to pretty good quarterbacks. They can be really good on some days and really not good on other days. But most of the time, they're going to be somewhere between solid and pretty good. Dak Prescott and Tua Tagovailoa. The 49ers have tried this in a roundabout kind of way where they've decided keep the quarterback cheap, pay everybody else around the quarterback to make it easier on the quarterback to where the quarterback kind of just has to do whatever we tell him to do and so on and so forth. He can be average. The 49ers messed up because they tried to keep that trend going and they traded to get Trey Lance. And the only reason why they didn't do exactly what I'm saying is because they still kept Jimmy G on the roster. But right now, the Cowboys and Dak Prescott have mutually agreed that they're not going to do contract talks, and he's just going to play out the last year of this deal. This is a $60 million deal. The Dallas Cowboys, while they said they're all in, have not been able to make any moves in free agency outside of a couple re-signs and sniping Eric Kendricks, who had to take less money to come there anyway, at linebacker from the Niners. And that probably has a lot to do with the fact that our defensive coordinator is his former head coach.
Exactly.
That's it. We just watched Tyron Smith walk and go to the Jets on a deal that is worth $4 million that if he hits all of incentives could be 20. And we literally couldn't pay him because we could not afford for him to hit all his incentives because we didn't have 20 to give him. So if you're the Cowboys, Micah Parsons is about to get paid, and he will be the highest paid defensive player when he gets paid, just because that's how the market works. CeeDee Lamb is about to get paid, and he's probably waiting on the Justin Jefferson deal.
Jefferson waiting on his ass.
And Jefferson's waiting on his deal. This is how it goes, right? But he's about to get paid.
Right. Top. It could be a top 3 contract for Lamb, no matter what. Right. Yeah.
Because the Dallas Cowboys chose not to extend Dak to lower his cap hit this year, Dak has to get paid. That's 3 guys, and that's 3 premier positions. Wide receivers that make 20, quarterbacks that make 45 to 50, and defensive ends that make whatever they make.
25, probably.
25. Chris Jones just made 33. Now, with that being said, you got Trayvon Diggs is already under contract. You have no running back, which is fine. Zach Martin is under contract. You have no center. You have no left tackle. If you move your left guard, who was a left tackle coming in, if you move him to tackle, now you have no left guard. But if you're the Cowboys, how crazy would it be to say, okay, we got to pay all these guys, and we cannot, if we truly want to win, we cannot pay our good to pretty good quarterback superstar level money, because Dak Prescott would sign an extension that would make him probably the highest paid quarterback in history, in NFL history, just because that's how the market goes. And then the salary cap jumped up $30 more million, and that's just how. And then the next one will just get paid more than him, and the next one, just how it goes. So he probably end up being the highest paid quarterback in history. And if you're looking at me right now and telling me that Dak Prescott is the highest paid quarterback in NFL history, as a Cowboys fan who watches every game, I don't expect anyone to win nothing.
Right.
So if you're Dallas, do you reset the quarterback clock? Do you pull a 49ers? Do you say, hey, New England, you got pick 3. Do you want to take a flyer and hope that your defensive head coach can not, you don't have another Mac Jones situation at pick 3? Or Do you want to take Dak Prescott? You know what you're going to get, and sometimes that's better. The known is better than the unknown sometimes. And the fact that you know what you're going to get adds value. Do you take Dak Prescott and you give pick 3 to Dallas? And Dallas says, all right, well, now that he doesn't have to get paid, let's go reset the quarterback clock. Let's go get, I don't know, whoever they think is the guy. It sounds like it's going to go Caleb and then Jaden McDaniels or Caleb Drake. But either way, let's say one of those guys. And if you find out, if you're sitting at pick 2 and you find out that that JJ McCarthy gets picked at 2 or something, because this is that time of year where they pick one quarterback, usually the white ones, and they move them up the draft. This is where Zach Wilson came from. This is where Mitch Trubisky came from. They all just fly up. And he gets picked at 2, and you're like, oh, the quarterback we love outside of Caleb Williams is there, and we can reset the thing. We know he's got the talent, and now we can just go bolster the roster. Now, granted, here's the thing about that. If you did that this year, you will not win this year because he's young, he needs to learn, and your roster also ain't stacked. So but next year you could do that. Your thoughts? Miami's in the same boat. They probably couldn't do it with New England, but who's it to? Washington. Hey, Washington, you want Tua? Dan Quinn, you're the head coach. Tua he drove down the field and beat you on Christmas Eve and give us pick 2. And Miami started over. They just got ravaged in free agency because they couldn't pay all these guys. I don't think I'm that crazy, Kev.
So, one, I thought you were going to say go this year with that and then trade everything in the house to go get Sanders the next year. That's all I thought you was going to say.
We'll see. I guarantee you Deion would like Shador to play in Dallas.
Of course.
I guarantee you he would like that. So, hey.
Yeah, I mean, that to New England, I've heard that a couple of times where it makes sense for both teams because I'll say this, New England is not ready for a rookie quarterback to drop in and play. It's going to be the same thing you see from Matt Jones, the same thing you see from Bailey Zappi. They're not ready. They need to build the offensive line. You need to get some weapons. You need star talent. This is what scares me about the Patriots, though. You need players in that building who are great, okay? Marvin Harrison Jr., whether that's Neighbors, whether that's a franchise set it and forget it left tackle like the Jonathan Ogdens of the world, the Joe Thomases of the world, if you go get Joe Alt at 3, right? So you need a star player. That's what scares me about New England's draft position. You're at 3. Do you trade for Dak? Do you trade to Minnesota 11 and 23 and drop back to 11 and hope a star player comes to you? Now, granted, can you get a star in the 3rd round or 5th round like Richard Sherman or something? Yeah, but that's very, very rare, right? I'm just scared that New England falls out of this top 5 or top 10. They won't get a player that they really, really want, right? Or really, really love. And they just taking the best player available, which is fine if you're already at 11. I think it's a little different when you trade down. And yeah, 2 guys are better than 1, right? Correct. But I don't think number 3 will change their lives, whether it's Drake, May, Jaden Daniels, because they're not ready for it. But are they ready for Dak Prescott? I don't know that either. So that's where I love the idea for the Cowboys but the problem is McCarthy ready for a rookie quarterback?
And that's the one, because it's like, okay, Sean McVay. If my coach was Sean McVay, if my coach was Kyle Shanahan, if my coach was maybe even Ben Johnson, we could do this. My coach is a coach who wants to just throw it around the yard. See, and that's why I like Mike McDaniel better than McCarthy for this. Of course, their first names are Mike and their last names will start with Mick. But Mike McDaniel versus Mike McCarthy, in the sense that, okay, Mike McDaniel wants to run the ball. He comes from San Francisco coaching tree or system. He wants to run the ball. He got all the speed and just put it where I tell you to put it when I tell you to put it. So maybe they're a better option than this. And here's the other thing too with the Patriots. Like, I feel like they as a team are so deprived of talent that multiple picks for one benefits them more than it does like Washington, who has all the cap space in the world to get as much talent as they want. But like you got no stars, you got no nothing.
Yeah, no.
So maybe you say, okay, well, we get the Marvin Harrison, or we go get the Drake May or the whoever, and then that becomes your star. Or you say, okay, like Minnesota, we take 11 and 23. Then to your point, you
They need to
fear, well, you're taking Rome Odunze, who you didn't love like you loved Marvin Harrison, just so that you have pick 23 as well. Or you could have took, if you really didn't love Marvin Harrison either, and like you said, you set it and forget it guy, Joe Alt at left tackle. Boom. And then because the other thing too is I think that like people like Michael Penix are underrated a little bit in this draft. People like Bo Nix are like, I believe that the Broncos are going to go draft Bo Nix. And I think they're going to see if they can draft him in the second round. And the reason why is because I don't think he's very good. Like I saw him get his ass kicked in Auburn, Bo Nix. But I do think that he's mature. He's played a lot of football.
That's why
he could do what you want him to do, which is also how I feel J.J. McCarthy is.
He's not a first round draft pick, in my opinion, for Bo Nix. I don't, because he doesn't have a high ceiling. I'm not taking a guy who doesn't have a high ceiling that high. But do I see Bo Nix going second round? Absolutely. A team trading up at the end of the first, maybe to get that 5-year window, absolutely. But at 12, no. I mean, if that's the case, Broncos might just trade back to 20, 21, or or do one that you let a good team come up, take a lot of their picks, and then you take Bo Nix later on. But yeah, I think New England needs to build through, right? Because the problem with the Cowboys is if you trade Dak right now, let's say tomorrow you wake up in the morning and Dak trade to Patriots. One, are we no longer going for the Super Bowl? Because how will Michael Parsons or CeeDee Lamb feel when you're like, oh, we got a rookie quarterback? That's not Caleb. That's not like the guy that they say is the guy.
Yeah.
Like it's different when I know players be hating. I don't care what nobody say, but like when LeBron James got drafted, he the chosen one, right? The Cavs players, they was hating. But if there was guys that you knew was that guy, like, and let's name a few guys: Peyton Manning, Trevor Lawrence, like one of the guys that you seen high school to college, you already heard about, and you get them. It's a different type of feeling versus, like, I think they'll feel the exact same way for Jaden Daniels because he's a highlight film or video game type of player, right? They might not feel the same way if the Cowboys take Drake May at 3. like Lamb, like
let me give you another one. What if, and this would go against the reset the clock thing, but what if the Cowboys said, you know what, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch Jacksonville because Trevor Lawrence is going to be a free agent after this year. They're probably going to try to franchise him. If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm not signing that.
So that's the thing right there, right? A lot of guys do not turn down the first contract, even though they probably should. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence shouldn't in reality, right? But I mean, it's gonna be hard. They gonna offer this man. They gonna pay this guy. I don't think they gonna let him get out of the building, but I think it's crazy when you look at that Mac Jones trade. It's like, was that for insurance or did they actually?
Right. Yeah. Well, why? Why Mac
Jones? Why not Sam Howell or just just I mean, do you like Mac Jones? Like that's where you question it a little bit, like out of nowhere, right?
But look, Kev, you got Trevor Lawrence. If you Dallas, you say, hey, we got to let that go. Couldn't come to an agreement. If the Jags can't sign Trevor to a deal, they're definitely going to put the Lamar franchise on him.
Of course. In
which Dallas says, look at our team, look at our roster. We probably won 11 games last year.
I would do that if I was Cowboys.
Yeah. Yes. Now, granted, if I could find a way to tamper to where I could say, hey, Trevor, look, dog.
I'm about to say how often is that is it called the transition tag or exclusive
or
exclusive tag? Like how often is that giving out? Because I don't remember Kirk Cousins getting that.
So Kirk didn't get the exclusive. He just got the regular.
Is that because he's not a first round pick? Is that because he's a first round pick? Maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know the stipulations behind it. I think it was just because I thought it was just team choice. And so they're like, well, if we're gonna lose Lamar, we're gonna get 2 firsts for it. But you think Dallas wouldn't give up 2 firsts in the next 2 years to get Trevor Lawrence?
I will right now.
And as a quarterback, Kirk Cousins just showed y'all the blueprint, y'all. And it's Kirk Cousins, and I like Kirk, but it's Kirk Cousins. It's not Trevor Lawrence. Dak Prescott, even though he got hurt doing it, benefited playing off the tag or playing on the tag. Kirk said, all right, look, you're going to maximize your money. I'm going to play on the tag 1 year. That's fully guaranteed. I'm going to play on the tag again. That's fully guaranteed. You literally financially can't put me on the tag a third time. And now I'm going to go get short-term, fully guaranteed contracts. Kirk Cousins and his agent have showed everyone how to do it. And the quarterbacks were willing to do it. And you can't do that if you're middle of the pack. You can't do that if you're Geno Smith. You can't do that if you're Baker Mayfield. You can't do that. But when you're Trevor Lawrence, if that's what you want to do, you say, hey, guess what? Jacksonville, I'm not signing your contract. I'm just not. Because while, yes, it secures me for the next however many years, I'm going to make fully guaranteed money on the tag for the next 2 years. And then I'm going to go make fully guaranteed, like just everything. When everything's fully guaranteed, I'm not worried about injury. And I mean, obviously your career could end, but if your career ended on an injury after you signed a 5-year deal, you're not getting all that either. So either way, I don't know, Kev. And again, could be Galaxy Brain, but I
bigger question for you. Should Trevor Lawrence pull an Eli?
Well,
I'll trade me now, right now.
Oh, trade me right now. If Trevor Lawrence demanded a trade and Jerry Jones tried to convince me that Dallas is all in, and I found out the same news I found out when I heard that Derrick Henry said Dallas never even called, if I swear to God, I'm going to hop on a train. Look, I'll be writing my letters on Twitter, Dear Jerry Jones, but I'm going to hop on a plane. I'm going to fly to the Star, and I'm going to say, hey, dog, big dog, let me holler at you real quick. Because he won't do that. And Trevor won't say that. But
I know.
We can dream.
We can dream. Well, my dream was different. I dream Trevor said, I want to go to Minnesota and we trade 11-23. But that's
so here's the other thing, Kev. Hear me out. Minnesota Vikings. If Trevor doesn't sign the deal, that's another team. Hey, whatever pick we got, I just give him over here. Kev, the teams, if Trevor Lawrence was somehow available or it just seemed like there was turmoil, all those teams we talked about that should do. If I'm the Panthers, I don't care. Get out of here. If I'm the Cardinals, I like Kyler a lot, actually. I don't know if I'd say that.
Would you rather reset the clock or pay Trevor Lawrence $200 million? Oh, wait, is that too much?
What team am I? How many years? 4 years? That's probably about right. It's probably like 4 years.
50 million. Okay,
20. Yeah. So what team am I? Because guess what? If I'm the 49ers, Ayuk's gone.
You cut everybody.
Greenlaw's gone. I'm sick of not having a quarterback. And if I'm the Lions, Goff's up out of here.
I'm about to say, how many teams are you? How many teams if you could take Trevor Lawrence instead of the quarterback you got? How many you take? Because it's probably
okay.
I'm thinking 20 at minimum 24.
24.
Without even thinking at minimum.
Let's do the count. All right. Kansas City, no.
Right, no.
Eagles.
Yeah, I'm taking Trevor.
Lions.
Trevor.
Me too. Niners.
Trevor.
Me too. Packers.
Trevor.
Me too. Bears.
Trevor.
We're gonna assume that they have Caleb Williams.
Come back. Pass.
We'll come back to that. Patriots.
Trevor.
Vikings.
Trevor.
Bills. I think I'm all right with Josh Allen.
Because if I'm GM, I'm giving him help, Josh Allen.
But I consider it.
But I would look at my phone.
It's one of those where I won't actually hit ignore. I'll just let it ring and go to voicemail. But I'll look at it.
Oh, wait a minute.
Baltimore Ravens. The way that team is built, I probably wouldn't go Trevor. But
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All things considered, I think about it though.
Yeah, I'll think about it. That's another one where I look at it like, ooh, that could be interesting, but I'll probably let it ring.
Yeah.
Raiders, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Trevor. Oh God.
Trevor with
Miami?
Dolphins would be crazy.
Seattle. Yes.
Easily.
Giants. Yes.
Easily.
We're already at 10. Commanders. Yes.
Yes.
Broncos. Yes.
Yep.
Houston.
Because I only seen 1 year of it.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that one.
Jets. Yes.
Yes.
Browns. Yes.
Yes.
You don't know if you could afford them because you know,
Right.
touchy-feely over there, but Bengals.
No.
Panthers. Yes.
Yes.
Titans. Yes.
Yes.
Cardinals. Yes.
Yes.
Chargers.
I think Justin Herbert is better than Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna say no.
I rather have Justin. All things equal, give me Justin.
Saints, obviously, yes. Buccaneers, obviously, yes. Rams, I'm saying yes.
Yeah. At this stage,
puts us at 20. Jacksonville, we're not going to count them because obviously they're the ones that got them. Falcons. Now remember, this is the team, so we just signed Kirk. You want to pay Trevor? Obviously, you can't do it, but if you had the choice, yes, you would do Trevor.
If there's no penalty, yes, for sure.
Steelers, yes.
Yes, of course.
Cowboys. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, I think Trevor.
That's already at 23. I didn't say the Colts.
Yes.
There's your 24. Then we have to come back to Texans and Ravens. And if we just split the hairs and just say that's 25, you said at least 24, we hit 25.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously the Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, and then I would sit and ponder, maybe take a walk, stroll on the beach at sunset, looking over the mountains.
Oh, Bears is the other one.
Yeah, I'll sit over the mountain thinking about Caleb, Lamar, CJ, or Trevor.
I'm not gonna hold you, Kev.
That's scary. I may pick all three of them over Trevor, but
I'm not gonna hold you, Kev. If it's me and I'm Houston and they said, hey, 1-for-1 swap, I'm probably taking Trevor.
You do it? Okay.
And if I'm the Bears.
Oh, okay, but so all right. I think all things equal, I might take Trevor.
So are we saying Trevor Lawrence is top 5?
But for Houston, I take CJ.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, especially with their situation. They're young. They can stack
the
up the rest of the
leadership that CJ Stroud brings to that particular team. But if everything, like the X receiver is this overall, the offensive line is the same, D line, everything's the same, coach the same, everything the same, I probably would take Trevor. But for Houston's sake, I would, if it was just swap, I wouldn't do it. I won't swap.
So we just said that there's only about 4 quarterbacks that we would definitively take over Trevor Lawrence. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Herbert. Everything else is at least a conversation, and most of that is a yes.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence has all the skills. I think I would take Lamar Jackson over Trevor. Probably all things equal too, just because I think Lamar just bring a whole different dynamic. I think Caleb and CJ are on the cusp of all things equal. They can make anything happen. I think Caleb could be that special. But yeah, so CJ versus Trevor would be hard for me right now.
Yeah, and same with the Caleb Williams, just because we've never even seen it, so we don't know.
Right.
But yeah, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua Tagovailoa. I'm gonna assume all 3 of them will be on their same team next year, but like after this season coming up. But hey, I mean, shoot, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm like, hey, look,
Why is Tua not paid yet?
I have no clue.
From
Tua's in the same draft class as Herbert, but
and Burrow, and both of them have been paid.
But remember, you can pay somebody an extension the season before
2 years
the
earlier.
last season of their thing.
And
so
both teams
they got paid. Yeah. Yep.
So this would be his 5th year then, right? This is his 5th year option, and they're not paying him yet.
Not paying him yet.
They probably won't.
That was a fun little exercise, Kev.
Fun little exercise. Tua definitely going to play the whole season out without a contract for sure.
1,000%. 1,000%. As will Dak. And yeah, dog. That was a fun little exercise there.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get up out of here, like we said, it's Thursday night. Live right now, it looks like Clemson's still up 7. UConn's up 12 because they
I'm very disappointed if Arizona lose, because not only would they lose, they also lose my damn money.
Later on, we got North Carolina, Alabama, and we got Illinois, Iowa State. Just off the top of your head, what you got?
Obviously, I don't want to be wrong, so I'm going to pick whoever wins.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Okay,
okay,
that's crazy.
But I'm rolling with North Carolina. I'm rolling with Illinois. Illinois has a player that's been shooting crazy, 28 points per game in the 2 wins. And I think when it comes down to it, offense usually is better than defense. But in college, you may lean to the defense. But I think because you have that guy who can go get a bucket, like Melo at Syracuse or Kemba at UConn, Illinois can get it done in this round because Iowa State defense is for real. So I'll take Illinois. I'll take North Carolina to go. And I'm hoping that I'm going to predict the Eric Wildcats will come back and win this game against Clemson Tigers.
All right. Well, they got 6 minutes left. They're down 7. Caleb Love, Pac-12 Player of the Year.
No show, huh?
0 for 8 from 3. He's got 11 points. 4 for 15
bad day
from
to be
the field.
trash.
Oof.
Pick a bad
He's
day to be
taking
sorry.
15 shots. The next highest shot taker has 8. And that's their center who probably got offensive rebounds and blah, blah, blah. So I definitely think as a Carolina fan, I'd probably rather North Carolina see Clemson because we split. So I'm not trying to beat them a 3rd time in a row.
Right.
But in Arizona, I mean, that's the squad. Like
North Carolina definitely goes to the Final Four for sure if Arizona loses this game.
I would love that.
Because how often are you going to get a Caleb Love bad game? Will he do it 2 games in a row? Probably not. So it's kind of like if he go crazy right now and have a bad game, that's more likely.
Wild because he's used to playing Clemson twice a year the last 3 years of his life, and now all of a sudden,
you just get. It's one of them days, man. It's one of them days.
Well, Kev, look, man, we have this. We good Lord, we really stretched this bad boy out, but this is what it is when we get together. So I appreciate you coming on, man. This is, like I said, it's the very beginning of the pod, and everybody's gonna see a whole bunch of you. If you don't mind, kind of let some of the people know where to find you. Let them know what Preach Kev Preach is about. The red carpet is yours. Yeah, man, it's all you.
Oh yeah. First off, at Pastor Kev Kev. Make sure the underscore is in there. Instagram, Twitter, pretty much all the same. Pastor _ Kev Kev on Twitter. Pastor.KevKev on Instagram. Preach Kev Preach with Rashad podcast, man. We drop an episode every week. And it's where you get your sermon, man. We come with some facts, we come with some stats. We're gonna try to make you get on our side. That's what we're all about. So follow us on all social medias and everything. On Twitter, the Prophet Pods as well. Kev, appreciate you for letting me join, man.
Yeah, man. And that is Kevy Kev, Pastor Kevy Kev. This has been Clearing the Air with Kevin Clare. Again, I'm your host, Kevo. Make sure that you treat this podcast like the podcast it is, which is the best in sports talk content. No shade, by the way. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Rate us, review us. If you have good things to say, say it. If you don't have good things to say, leave 5 stars and keep it pushing. And if you're not leaving 5 stars, just leave 5 stars, and we'll leave it at that. It's been real. It's been fun, Kev. Once again, thank you to everybody listening. Thank you. See you guys in just a little bit.